Hey, how's it going? It's your boy, I Don't Manga. That's my name, by the way. I'm here to count you down the top 10, maybe not the top 10, but 10 manga that I believe you should try out if you are a beginner. I did a video very similar to this idea last time. I did top 5 manga tips from a manga pro. I talked about things that I don't think a lot of people talk about that I do still think are important. And I still hold by those, and it did very well, surprisingly. So I'm doing another one. Also, if you can't tell by my manga resume, I'm a manga pro. Look at all this manga I have in the back. I'm a manga pro. I know what I'm talking about. I've read like all of these basically, kind of, a little bit. So I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing, all right? You don't have to question me. Let's just start off with the first manga. Before we do that, a couple things I have to say. One, my Twitter and my anime list, my anime list, which is actually my manga list, are both in the description below. If you want any manga series reviewed, if you want any manhwa or comic series reviewed, all you gotta do is drop a super thanks, and I will give it to you as soon as I can. Right now, I am reading D. Gray Man. I'm also reading Call of the Night. Those are my 2 ones that I'm working on right now. I already did a One Piece and a Bleach one. If you go into like my videos and you see those 2, you watch them, you like them, drop me a super thanks. I'll do a review very similar to that. Another thing I have to say is the criteria for a series that I'm putting on this list. There's a couple things. One, I think they have to be at least ongoing or completed. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, is there a third one? Like, is there a not ongoing or not completed? There is, and it's called being left on hiatus. I'm not touching a single hiatus story, because if you want to read a manga and it's on hiatus and you literally can't finish it, there's no reason to like read it, especially when you're starting out. I don't actually believe that. Like I own Vagabond in my collection, which is one of those manga. But you know, like if you don't like if you're just starting out, I wouldn't want you to start a manga that you can't even finish or you can't even read alongside. And they can't have a super long chapter to chapter release schedule. Like chapters can't release every 3-4 months. That's too much. Or whenever they want to come out. Like I'm not putting a reel on here. 2, they have to be readily available. I think every manga here should be pretty easy to get. Like if you just go to your Barnes & Noble, you might be able to find a couple volumes here or there. 3, I want most of these manga to be somewhat popular, but also not super popular, because I think one of the best things that got me into like collecting more manga was just how popular series, just the community behind it. And when I was reading the popular series, there was more people to talk to. So that got me into a lot of great manga, and I do think like a lot of the popular series that people talk about are good. Like they're not like it's not popular just because they're bad. Like they're actually very good. And it's basically all my criteria. And then, you know, last, they have to be pretty good for me to get into them. I'm not recommending like a One Piece here. One Piece is incredible, 3rd favorite manga of all time. Shit's over 100 volumes, super expensive, super time consuming. You're not gonna want to read that starting out. First, I have a manga that I really enjoy. I read the first 2 volumes. I really liked it. It is Delicious in Dungeon. I didn't mention this, but another plus is not having an anime. If you don't have an anime, I'm probably going to recommend you more, just because most people want to watch an anime before they read a manga. So Delicious in Dungeon is not one of those. It has an anime, but if you don't really like anime, you can't really get into it, and you want to get into manga, I think this is a great way to do it. I'm not a slice of life guy. I'm just not a slice of life guy. This does slice of life very well. There are a couple issues with it. Like there's a lot of stuff that I don't really like about the series, but overall, it is an incredible read. Like all the characters are very fleshed out. They feel human. They don't like they're cartoonish characters, but they're not cartoony characters, if that makes sense. A lot of them are just really relatable, and they have great chemistry with each other. The world is really great. A lot of times, like when there's downtime and people are just talking and people are just doing stuff like a slice of life story is, it honestly just feels like I'm learning. Like it doesn't feel like we're wasting time here, though that is kind of an issue. I will say in this manga, like probably my biggest negative is they introduced this very like big point of like motivation for our characters, and it just gets really, really annoying. I don't want to spoil it, but basically they have to get somewhere very quickly or something bad's gonna happen, and this entire manga is them pit stopping and eating. So it can get really frustrating when characters are just goofing around, and as the reader, I still have this thought in my brain being like, fuck, we gotta go to someplace. So yeah, that's probably my biggest issue with this manga, but other than that, if you can look past that, this will be an incredible read for you. And the anime is very good. I watched a little bit of the anime. I watched maybe 4 or 5 episodes, and for what I can tell, at least of what I've read, it's very, very good. It adapts the source material very well. I don't think it's better though. I still like the manga adaptation more. And the art is just like really, really good. So yeah, Delicious in Dungeon. Next, I have a very underrated manga. I did want to include at least 1 or 2 manga that aren't very well known just to make your collection a little bit more diverse. And this one might be unknown, might not be unknown. I don't hear anybody talking about it though. It's Full Night. Yeah, I read the first volume to this. Only the first volume is out, I believe. Maybe the second one is. This is like just plain incredible. Like actually one of the best first volumes I've ever read. If you don't like this first volume, you're probably not gonna like the rest of the series, because I think this is how it's gonna continue. But yeah, Full Night, incredible read. It's about this like world where there's no sunlight, so they have to like go out and, you know, find different ways to produce oxygen and produce like plants and shit. So what the government like proceeds to do is like create these like plant human hybrids where they'll like implant seeds in a human, and over like a 2-year span he'll start turning more and more into a plant. And that's basically the premise of the story. Our main character here goes through that surgery and some kooky crazy things happen, just to be said. It is incredible. The writing is incredible. I think the writing is like some of the best I've seen, at least in a first volume. Like, this author knows exactly what he wants to do. The world is just built incredibly. The 2 characters, are like 2 main characters, have great chemistry with each other. There's very, very high stakes in this manga, and there's just so much beautiful symmetry with these plants and these trees that I just love eating up. It's not everyone's cup of tea. Like, it's not like a typical battle shonen. There's nothing wrong with battle shonen. I love battle shonen. But it's not like a typical battle shonen. It's a very slow-paced manga, honestly, and the art it definitely takes some getting used to. But if you want some good manga in your collection, I recommend Full Night. Next, I have one of those manga that are here for popularity, but also are here for being very, very incredible. And I think it's just a good way to introduce manga. It's Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man, like, everybody talks about Chainsaw Man. A lot of people say it's ending soon. I don't know why. I haven't read, like, to the newest chapter, but it's ongoing, and it's incredible. I read the entirety of the first part in, like, one sitting. It was just so good. I mean, I do think the beginning is very, very slow. It is kind of hard to make, like, my phone died. I had to charge it real quick. Chainsaw Man. I'm back to Is this phone correct? Hold on. Is this phone correct? Yes. Chainsaw Man. What do I have to say about Chainsaw Man? Yes, of course, it's incredible. It's great. The characters are amazing. I think it's an incredible manga to start with. I think it's made for a lot of people who just really like that edginess. Not edginess like teenage angst, more like a cool edginess, like a really, really like gory type of edginess, if that makes sense. And that's all I have to say about Chainsaw Man. I don't remember where I was off at, so that's good enough for me. Is this phone correct? I think so. Okay. Next, I want to go to a manga that is actually in my top 10. This is actually the highest rated manga I have. This is probably my favorite manga out of all the manga that we have. This is Blue Lock. The volumes now just got announced by the start of next year. They're going to be releasing every month. If you don't know, usually volumes are released every 3 months. This is every month. We're getting 12 volumes in a year. We're on volume 14, probably around to get 15. pretty soon, and we're getting 16 probably around the end of the year. If you add 12 to that, by the end of 2025, we'll be on volume 28. Do you know how crazy that is? That's insane. It's insane numbers. But I wouldn't be telling you this if this manga wasn't good. This manga is incredible. First off, I mean, it maybe not shows in the first volume, but I mean, look at some of these panels. The manga art is incredible. This is a manga about soccer, and I am a soccer fan. I've been a soccer fan for a very long time. Before and after I read this manga, it depicts soccer, in my opinion, very well. It does like this weird mix of like a haiku and a Crocodile's basket, where one is super, super realistic and one is incredibly not realistic. And it's somewhat in the middle of it, and I think it's done really, really well, where the moves they're doing are like real soccer moves, and like the stuff they're doing is soccer, like real soccer theory, but it's just exaggerated to a level of entertainment that a soccer fan can read and watch and still enjoy it, me included, in my opinion. Like characters are pulling out, bicycle kicks and step overs and scissors and pulling out freaking spins and roulettes and metadonas. Those are like the 3 same moves, but whatever. I think one character does a Ronaldo chop at one point. There's a lot of emphasis on like spatial awareness in a game, which is incredibly important. Like a lot of the stuff I'm talking about is what Blue Lock, is a lot of soccer stuff, and it's explained very, very well in Blue Lock. As well, there also, if you're a sports fan, you're gonna love this manga. Even if you're not a sports fan, you'll still love this manga. But Blue Lock has a lot of things to say about sports, not just sports, but also about life, but mainly sports and how sports should be handled and your mindset going into competition that I think is really, really valuable to have. I'm also a sports guy. I do a lot of sports. I watch a lot of sports. I did a lot of sports in high school. What else was I gonna say? Yeah, I did a lot of sports in high school. A lot of this stuff is stuff I could have used when I was way younger. A lot of this stuff I think is very, very valuable. And there's just a lot of facts put in place in this manga that I really do appreciate this manga going forward. And there's also just a lot more elements that I could talk about. Like one, the character designs are just fabulous. Some of the best character designs I've ever seen. Every character, I don't know how the author does it, but he makes you interested in characters seconds, panels after you see them. Just because of the way they talk, just because of the way they act, just because of the way they look. Like there's so many things the author puts in place that makes these characters likable, even if you've only seen them 12 panels, if that makes sense. Like only if you see them for like 1 or 2 panels, you'll still enjoy them. Like even now, in like the later, I've read to like where they are now, so I'm following week to week online. Even now, there's like a big debate in the manga community where people are like trying to figure out who's gonna make it in like the top 23 best players in like the facility. Who like that's if you think about that, that's insane. 23 different characters, and there's more where people are arguing who's gonna make the top 23. I think that's incredible. That's something crazy for a manga to do. To have 23 well-established characters outside of, there's a lot of other characters, but 23 characters, but 23 established characters, and people are still arguing on who's gonna make it, who's not. So yeah, I think Blue Lock is incredible. It's done incredibly well. Fantastic manga, fantastic read. Yes. I'll move on to the next one. Next is a manga that recently got an anime maybe a year ago, I believe. The anime was very good. It got a lot of delays though, so not a lot of people watched it. I love the anime though, and I love this manga. It is Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead. Let me just say, this is probably the best like comedy manga on this list. If you're a comedy fan, you'll definitely love this manga. It's basically about this guy. He goes through this awful job, fed up with work, and the zombie apocalypse happens, and it's basically like a vacation for him. So he takes his time out of his day while the zombie apocalypse is happening, and he goes and fills out and lists things he wants to do before he becomes a zombie. And he meets other people with different philosophies around the end of the world, and it's like a battle of philosophies, kind of. Not a battle, but more of a sharing of ideas. There's a lot of things I love about this manga. One, I think the author does something incredible here, which is just take like a bunch of different ideas that are great on paper and actually explore them deeper and actually explore them like in a very, very interesting way. Like there's maybe a chapter or two where the character just like explores the idea of being bored and what is boredom and how to deal with boredom. And it's incredible. I love those chapters, or maybe chapter. I love that chapter. It's also just a very funny manga. He meets other people on the way, and he like has adventures with other people, and the characters and stuff are just very, very kooky, very funny. They're very charismatic, all of them. The chemistry is some of the best I've ever seen. When characters talk to each other, it's always a delight. It's always a joy. This also has a great romance in it. Actually, the volume I just read, volume like 16 or 15, just basically like ended the not ended the romance, but like ended the before being a couple romance. And one of the best payoffs I've ever seen in a romance, at least. Like at least in romance, like one of the best payoffs I've ever seen. Genuinely, I can't. The only issue with this manga, and I kid you not, one of the only issues with this manga is its release schedule. Because I swear a volume gets released like every fucking 4 or 5 months. That's not that consistent. That's the only thing like holding this thing back. But genuinely, an incredible read. The art is incredible. The writing is incredible. It's hilarious. I have so much fun with this manga. It is never a dull moment. All right. After that, I have a manga that I very much enjoy, and I know a lot of people actually enjoy this more than me, so you might be able to get more enjoyment out of this than I can. It is Tokyo Ghoul, and also Tokyo Ghoul Re. I mostly put this story here because, one, there are 2 very cheap box sets for Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul Re that you can just buy straight out and get the entire series. Now, I'm not saying they're $20 cheap. They're like $100, $150 cheap. But it is better, like it is more available than other manga that I believe are better than this. But this manga is still incredible and so right. It's basically about this world where there are humans, there are ghouls. The ghouls hide out as humans, but they eat humans. And our main character here becomes a half ghoul, half human hybrid. And it is a great character study on humanity, what it means to be a human, what do you need to keep your humanity, how you do that, what is life, how do we derange ourselves from different species, what is our each our own breaking point, what is other people's breaking point, what are the costs of eating, what will you do to be full, to eat, to have a good meal. There are a lot of ideas here that are explained very, very well. There are a lot of plot points and plot threads that I think are mostly completed. There are a lot of themes played around here that I think are genuinely great and work well with the premise of the story. There's just so many different ideas converging at once, and they're balanced very, very well. My main problem with this manga, honestly, is the art. There are certain fight scenes in here that I just don't think are paced very well and are not laid out very well. The pacing's good, but the art is just really not it. Like when characters are talking, it's great, but when fights are happening, because these ghouls can fight each other, just does not flow at all. Like actually looks awful. Excuse me. Yeah, that's the best thing I can give for Tokyo Ghoul. It's also somewhat a mystery too. There are a lot of questions that are unanswered in Tokyo Ghoul and that are answered in Tokyo Ghoul Re that you need to read, to find those answers. And, I still believe Tokyo Ghoul is a great story on its own, but it needs to be completed while reading Tokyo Ghoul Re, which is like its sequel series. But yeah, that is my talk about Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul Re, but mainly just Tokyo Ghoul. Next, I have another manga that I think is very, very good and actually is getting an anime. It is Blue Box Blue Box, not Blue Lock, Blue Box. Just a really solid romance story. Like one of my favorite romances that I own. I don't own a lot of romances. I don't like a lot of romances, honestly. But this manga just hits it so well. Just does it like so well. I can't explain it. I just can't, honestly. There are certain things about this manga that just hits on such a personal level that I don't really know how to put into words. There is a character that goes through a very emotional, not breakup, but rejection, and it I had to look back within myself and look back at all the uncomfortable moments I had in high school when it dealt to romance, and it just makes you feel a little bit, at least in that moment, it made me feel a little bit uncomfortable looking back on those moments, those embarrassing moments I did not want to relive. But this manga made me relive those moments, and it's just genuinely incredible. There's a lot of elements here that are played around with that I think are done really well. The pacing is some of the best I've ever seen. My big issue with romance manga is I love romance, but I hate slice of life. And it's really hard to not do both, because when there's romance, you can't make it too rushed and just have them get married by the 3rd volume, because what's the romance in it? It's it just feels rushed. You don't feel much love between the two characters if they meet in the 1st volume, get together in the 2nd, get married in the 3rd. At least there's no slice of life, but that pretty much sucks as well. In slice of life stuff, slice of life is just plain old boring for me. So to have those chapters of them just doing stuff, doing different activities without really anything to look forward to, those get boring for me. So it's really hard to do only romance and not slice of life while still making the romance well paced and just well paced and very good. And this manga does that, and I believe it's because, one, it delves into a lot of characters that are incredibly likable, and just really charismatic. I don't know how to say it any other way than just saying they have Riz, but it is so nice to hear characters talk like humans and talk in such a natural and fluid way, and it doesn't break this cycle of conversation at all, the way characters talk in this manga. As well, it also focuses on a lot of sports. What I love about this manga, as well as a lot of other things, is the two characters make each other better. The two love interests, the male love interest, the woman love interest, they make each other better. Them being together, not them being together, but them knowing each other and being friends actually makes the other person do better and want to get better and become a better person. Which I absolutely love in just romance, but also just manga and media, when two characters make each other better. And this has definitely helped a lot more with the sports aspect to it, because both these characters are trying to get into sports and trying to be the best at their sport, and them talking with one another and them being together helps them do that. And it's really refreshing to read. As well, when the author knows that certain things are getting a bit boring or certain things are getting a bit repetitive, she'll introduce more characters, not even more characters, but different plot threads that are super interesting. One time, I remember it got a little bit stale with these two relationship, so the author introduced an entirely other relationship that was so incredible and so interesting. Another time when this happened is when I thought things were getting a bit stale, so they introduced her her old teammate. That was also incredible too. Yeah, the pacing of this manga is just in my opinion basically perfect. I do think this manga is definitely worth the read. Next, I got an underrated manga. I know not a lot of people know about this one, but I think it's very good. It is A School Frozen in Time. Volume 1, there's only 4 volumes actually of this, and it's completed. So basically, the plot of this manga is our main characters go to school one day. It's super snowy outside. That's important. Super snowy outside. They go to school, Nobody else is there, and when they try to get out, all the doors are locked. You can't break any of the windows, and they don't know what's happening. And basically, they have to like confront their own like, I don't even know how to describe it, like their own inadequacies, because they have to also figure out which one of them in their friend group killed themselves. One of them killed themselves, and they have to figure that out, but they also have to like look within themselves and look at their own inadequacies, and look at what they've done wrong in the past. Now, I don't think this manga is perfect. There are definitely a lot of issues I have with this manga, but I do think this manga is darn good. One, it hits a lot of emotional points. There are a shitload of backstories. There's probably half backstory in this manga. There's a shitload of backstories in this manga, and they're all done very, very well. They're all written well. I enjoy each and every one of them. There are also a lot of just character moments of characters talking, characters growing with each other, that I really, really like. It does kind of feel like a horror. It is kind of a horror manga because of characters are like dropping like flies. Like, oh, this character looked within himself, he's gone. This character looked within himself, he's gone. You know what I mean? So characters do go away for a time, and it does make the ending a little bit less potent because you don't really know like half these characters because you only met them for freaking a chapter for half a volume. I'm pretty sure one of the characters like leaves or whatever, or died. He doesn't die, but he like is gone in like the first half of this volume. So you don't really get to know a lot of these characters very well. But what this manga offers, I think, is done incredibly well. It was also one of my first manga that I've ever read. I remember seeing a video about it. Like, I saw like a YouTube video that was like, trying out new volume ones. And this guy rated this volume very highly. And I love the premise of it. The premise just sounded really, really cool. So, got it. Loved it. I also made a review on it. It's awful. Don't watch that video. But I made a review on it. Yeah, it's bad. Next, I have a manga that is very well known for having an awful anime. And that manga is Uzumaki. Not Blue Lock. It's not Blue Lock, okay? It's Uzumaki. Yeah, this manga is just incredible. This manga is just incredible in classic horror. You look at some of these panels, I mean, I can show you like any panel and just some of this shit is just scary. Like, look at that stuff. Just terrifying. Junji Ito's art is God among men in horror. I mean, there are other horror series that I own, like Doubt or PTSD Radio, or even kind of Soul Eater, but Soul Eater's not really a horror manga. It's more just like a spooky manga. What other horror manga do I own? I don't know. But yeah, Uzumaki, incredible read. There's nothing like what it's really about. It's about spirals, but that's not a great premise. Trust me, when you read it, you will like this. And it's only one volume. This is it's a one-shot, kind of. It's only one volume. This is what it is. Yeah, that's the manga. And finally, sorry, I just want this video to end. God dang. Finally, the last manga I'll be talking about here, is probably one of my favorite manga as well on here. And that manga is Planetes. There are only 2 volumes to this. There's also the same author, you might have heard of it, same author of Vinland Saga. Planetes is genuinely one of the most fulfilling manga I've ever read. It takes a very philosophical approach to its theming. It's very, what is the meaning of life? What is the answer to us being on Earth? How do we explore more options than Earth? What is our reason for being here? There are a lot of different questions being asked in this manga. Basically, all of them are answered. For a lot of characters, the answer to what is the meaning of life is different. And genuinely, it's really, really good. The art is incredible. The characters are incredible. So many things about this manga is done so well. And I only have one issue with it. Only one. That is the pacing. The pacing is not good. The pacing is tragic, how bad the pacing is. But if you can look past the pacing of this manga, I truly think you will find an incredible read. And yeah, These are not the 10 best manga in my collection, but to you, if you are just starting out, this could be, I mean, all these manga could be in your top 10. Like, these are definitely the 10 best, in my opinion, that you could start with first. There are a lot of manga, you know, that are out right now. I mean, I think Hell's Paradise is a good choice. I think Demon Slayer even, you should watch the anime though. Demon Slayer is kind of a good choice. The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, I just read the first 2 volumes. Great choice, I love that manga. What else? Go-Go Loser Ranger is very, very good. Very underrated, honestly. I really like the manga. What else is in my manga collection? Beastars is kind of a good pick, but it is like really, really weird. It kind of fucks with you. Like, some of the stuff I just don't even want to read it sometimes. I will never revisit Beastars, even though it's one of my favorites, probably top 10. Not top 10, top 20 probably. What else? Alice in Borderland is a great starting manga. Kaiji Gambling Apocalypse is great. Alice in Borderland is great. Like, there's a lot of stuff here that you could definitely read, and go to any other video, there'll be 10 different manga, but in my opinion, as a manga pro, these are my 10 that I think you should visit first. If you want to start off with something that maybe you have a bit more nostalgia to, maybe you want to start off with like Dragon Ball that you watched when you were a kid, or even One Piece when you were watching with a kid, when you were a kid, not with a kid, Naruto, Bleach, like these very classic manga you can definitely watch or read. There's no issue with those. I just don't think if you're going into manga with a blank slate, those are manga you should even touch when you're starting out. Incredible manga, should not touch them, at least for now. Yeah, that is the end of the video. Subscribe, like the video, comment down below. I read every comment and I answer to every comment. Well, I don't answer, but I like every comment and I read them. I answer to most of them though if it's like a question or like a statement. Yeah, if you got to the end of the video, put a 4-leaf clover. I don't even know if there's a 4-leaf clover emoji, but put a 4-leaf clover emoji in the comments down below. Yeah, I do that sometimes because I think it's funny. I think it's funny to like put an emoji on it. I get to see who really got to the end of my video. Yep. All right. Bye.